Hello, how is everybody? Today we're going to discuss about a topic which is very close to my heart. In any fair cases, most of my students would know. Today we're going to talk about attitude, positive attitude, as a matter of fact. So before we begin, let me ask you a question. What is it that you think defines your attitude? In other words, what do you mean by attitude? What do you understand by attitude? And what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you say the word attitude? Well, a lot of students came back and told me very interestingly that, this girl has a lot of attitude. This boy has a lot of attitude. This man has a lot of attitude. This teacher, as a matter of fact, has a lot of attitude. So, interestingly, a very different question arises here. So we generally tend to discuss with my students and with everybody else, and I counter this question back to them. So what are you exactly or specifically trying to indicate when you say that this person has an attitude? Well, there is no clear answer. Evidently, there is no clear answer, and it's quite fair that there is no clear answer. But then, of course, it's very, very evident as to what everybody is trying to say. So, attitude, in simple layman's language, means your ability to process your life. When I say process your life, I mean how do you handle your life? How do you manage your life? How do you deal with your life? The way it comes to you on a day-to-day basis, hour by hour, clock by clock, minute by minute, brick by brick, and block by block. How do you handle the influx of events that's being hurtled down your way? How do you process them? How do you receive them? How do you manage them? Put together comprises what is known as an attitude in an individual. So it is rightfully said that it is your attitude, not aptitude. I will repeat that. It is said that it is your attitude, not your aptitude, that determines your altitude. I will repeat that one more time. It is said that it is your attitude, not your aptitude, that determines your altitude. How high you will go in your life is not determined by the aptitude that you have, but it's clearly determined by the attitude that you have in your life. Simple, isn't it? But it's equally meaningful as well. And it's very, very profound to the core. Attitude, in my opinion, is everything. But let me ask you a question. I'm going to put this question back to the audience, especially to my students. Let's say you're brilliant in academics. You're great at coding. You're great at research, but then you have a very bad attitude. You pick up a squirrel with your fellow colleagues on the shop floor, in the research lab, with your professors, with your peers, but you're great at coding. How far in life do you think you will go? Very far? Not very far? Not far at all? Well, the answer is probably moderately far. On the contrary, let's say you're average in coding, you're average in research, or average plus in research, but you have a brilliant attitude, you have a great attitude. How far in life do you think you're going to make? Allow me to assure you, you're going to make it very, very far in life. The simple reason being, if you have a bad attitude, but you have great academics or skills or proficiencies, slowly over a period of time, because of bad attitude, either you will lose them or people will fire you out of the institution or the organization or the company that you're working for. But if you have a terrific attitude and average or moderated skills, you will, by virtue of your great attitude, acquire those skills over a period of time and scale very far in your life. Am I making sense? Do let me know in the comment box if you're enjoying the video and if I'm making sense out there to everybody. So, I'm going to tell you a very, very interesting story from my life about attitude and how it defined and shaped the meaning of attitude in my life. And by the end of this video, I'm sure you'll be able to understand the point that I'm trying to make when I say and when I define the term attitude in my life. I started my career way back in 2003 when I was a very young lad, about 21 years of age, with a company called General Electric Corporation. The very electric bulb, which was being invented by Thomas Alva Edison, started this company about 150 to 200 years ago approximately. And I used to do evening shifts, or sometimes late night shifts, and they're fondly called as graveyard shifts. So My shift would typically start at about 7 p.m. in the evening. I asked about the next 8 hours in the morning, through the morning. So a company cab would typically pick us up from our residence and drop us at the office gates, pick us back from the office gates and drop us back at the residence gate. So that's how the routine used to be for good 2 to 3 years in my life. So one fine summer afternoon, what had happened was I reached my office gate at about 6 o'clock, 6:15, quarter past 6. And I was just walking towards the main entrance of the building. I suddenly noticed that my team leader was standing at about 100 feet away. And he was surrounded by about 20, 25 odd people. And they were very, very furiously discussing about something, which I could not hear from the distance. So as I approached the crowd, I realized that it was my team leader who was standing in between, and he was surrounded by all my fellow colleagues and team members. And they were furiously debating about how the traffic condition is in Delhi, how people's behavior is in Delhi, how the climatic condition is in Delhi, how people are getting bad to us, how traffic is getting bad to us in Delhi, how things are moving very, very bad on the negative scale, especially in the metropolitan cities and with specific focus in Delhi. And the reason we were discussing this, and the reason they were discussing this, as a matter of fact, is because apparently this gentleman, this team leader of mine, had bought a new car the previous day, and the car was badly hit by a truck while he was driving on his way to his work. And his car was parked right next to the office building, and it was a real wreck. Everybody could see that. It was a new car, a new Honda City car model, the latest model, which was hit by a truck, and it almost got contorted into some badly shaped metal. And he was obviously angry, and it was very, very obvious, and it was very, very evident. So I too expressed my condolences, and I started walking back towards the main pavilion building because my shift time was getting there. So while I was just about to reach the main office building, I suddenly noticed my senior vice president approaching from the other side. He noticed me and he motioned me to stop, and he asked me, "What's happening out there?" I said, "Sir, such and such's car was badly hit by a truck, and it's theoretically damaged beyond repair, I guess." And so they're just having a discussion. So he said, "Can we take a walk and see what is going on there?" I said, "Sure." So the two of us started walking back towards where the incident was happening, where the discussion was taking place. So this gentleman approached my team leader and said, "Sachin, what's wrong?" He says, "Look at the wreck. Look at this car. I bought it yesterday and it was hit by a truck. And Delhi is out of control of everybody. It's a mess. That's beyond the control of the administration and general people alike." And then he said, "Sachin, why don't you just claim your insurance? You do have insurance, don't you?" I said, "Yes." Then just go ahead and claim it. And that's all he said. And we started walking back towards the main building complex one more time. So while we were walking back, I noticed one thing that struck me very oddly, because I've been knowing this man for a very, very long time, about 3 years. Our friendship had sustained over a period of time. And as far as I was concerned, with respect to knowing this man, I knew that he was a very, very well-behaved and a well-maintained gentleman. For example, not a single strand of his hair ever stood out, and his shirt was never dangled loose out of his trouser. Not in the last 3 years, at least I saw him. But on that particular day, I did notice his disheveled hair, slightly disheveled hair, and his shirt slightly tucked out of his waist belt. And that prompted me to stop him and ask him a question. I said, "Is everything okay with you that particular afternoon?" And he asked me, "Why do you say that?" I said, "No, it just occurred to me, so I thought I'll just check with you." He said, "No, everything is fine. Let's just walk." So we started walking back again towards the pavilion main building. And something told me at the deep of my head that something was not okay with him. So I stopped him again and I said, "Sir, is everything okay with you?" He said, "Why do you keep asking me the same question?" I said, "No, it appears to me that something's not okay with you. Would you mind telling me?" I said, "No, everything is fine. Let's just walk. Why do you keep asking?" Okay, so we started walking back again. After a few minutes, I made up my mind and I told him, "Sir, I'm not going to walk with you unless you tell me what has happened with you." He said, "Why do you even want to know?" I said, "I just want to know. Would you mind telling me?" You know what he told me that day? What he told me that day, it completely changed my life. It completely changed the meaning and the definition of my life. I understood the word attitude from that day. Listen to me very carefully, ladies and gentlemen, what he said that day. He said, "I'm coming from the burning grounds. I'm coming from the crematorium." And I was like, Nobody very serious. Something must have happened. So what he told rings very large in my head and ears still now. It's been several years down the line. He said, I lost my wife today morning. I'll say that again. He said, I lost my wife today morning. I'm discussing this example in this video not to illustrate the point as to why the gentleman was in office on that particular day when he had lost his wife in the morning, but to tell everybody how was that man, in spite of that irreparable loss, was in a position not only to come to work. I really don't know whether he worked the whole day or the whole evening or not, but then he was there. He was coaching and counseling and mentoring other people. He was trying to cool off other people. He was trying to calm other people down. He was trying to show directions in spite of that personal tragedy, in spite of that personal crisis. That, ladies and gentlemen, is called positive attitude. So attitude is your ability to process, to receive, to handle the information that come by your way in a way that you at least treat them in such a way that you expect a positive outcomes, that you expect the positive outcomes, that you expect the positive outcomes. And you simply treat these occurrences, these happenings in your lives as events. And that day, he gave me a beautiful formula. He told me, you're going to remember this for your life. This beautiful formula is called event plus response is equivalent to outcome. I will say that one more time. Event plus response is equivalent to outcome. Which simply means everything that happens in our lives are events, whether they're man-made events or they are natural events. Certain man-made events can be controlled by us, whereas the natural events cannot be controlled by us. Let's say, for example, if there's earthquake that's coming next to your door the following morning, can you control that earthquake? No, you cannot. That's an event. Can you control the outcome of that earthquake? It's going to destroy and flatten 200 houses in the colony and the locality. Can you control that? No, you cannot. What is it that you can control? You can only control the response mechanism of yours. I'll give you an example. Let's say earthquake comes knocking at my door 2 o'clock in the morning and tells me I'm going to come in the next 2 hours and I'm going to flatten everything that's within the vicinity of 2 kilometers. And I, as an individual, have two choices. Either I can pack my stuff, get my luggage together and run or drive as far as I can so that I save my life and my family. Or what I do is I pack my stuff and at the same time I raise an alarm cry and try to spread the word around and tell everybody, please run. There is an earthquake which is due in the next 2 hours. Pack up, gather whatever you can and run as hard as far as you can. So these two responses on my side may not be able to completely change the outcome, but it can partially influence the outcome. So attitude, ladies and gentlemen, is not about changing the events or the outcome. It is about responding, not reacting. It's about responding. Please remember, reacting is thoughtless. Response is thoughtful. Reaction is full of heart, whereas response is full of head. It is a judicious blend of your heart and the head that's going to help you get to the right solution. More importantly, it's the application of your head, less application of your heart is going to lead you to the right results. I need everybody to raise your right hands with me in the video and say and repeat after me. Attitude is 20% of what happens to me and 80% of the noise that I make. Attitude, one more time, is 20% of what happens to me and 80% of the noise that I make. Learn to treat whatever comes to your life as events. Learn to treat whatever comes in your life as events and try to control your responses. Try to control only your responses. Don't try to change the events. Do not try to change the outcome. Only try to contain your responses. And we are looking at a very, very positive outcome. I'll give you one more example. There is a terrible event that has happened in your life. Your response is equally terrible. It is guaranteed that the outcome will be terrible. But let's say there is a terrible event. Your response is very good. Your response is very good. Your response is very good. Chances are that the outcome might be good. There is no guarantee, but there is a chance. There's a very strong possibility that the outcome might be good. So keep bouncing back. Keep trying again and again. Behave like a plastic pen. What does it do? How does a plastic pen behave? You put mud, earth, water, color on it, and you just over a period of time wipe it, and it gets back to its original color. That's how a man with a positive or a woman with a positive, that's how mankind with a positive attitude should behave, no matter how you color them, no matter how you paint them, no matter how much you taint them. The moment they will clean and they're back. They're clean and they're back. I hope this video made some sense to you, and I hope you understand the meaning of positive attitude today. Thank you so much for watching.